What's up guys, Weldon Customs here, and today we're taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch figure Kylo Ren. Looks pretty cool. Now I didn't get a lot of these 6-inch figures, but I definitely had to get this one because it's such an interesting character. I really want to see how he looks like and how he is. Here's the file in the back over here. I love these packaging from the Star Wars Unlimited series, not Unlimited, Black Series that is. Very simple, very nice, nothing too crazy. Looks pretty cool. Alright, let's open them up. Alright, so we have Kylo Ren out of the packaging, and man, he looks pretty cool, I have to admit. For one thing, I have to say, straight off the bat, is that Star Wars did a great job when it comes to the fabric. The fabric on the action figure is really flush onto the figure too. Nothing looks too crazy. I thought that the cape, what people said, the hood looked probably the worst when it comes to fabric cape, but I think it looks pretty good still. I had no problems with it, It molds very well, it holds pretty good. You could honestly just pinch it a little bit, it goes right onto his head. No problems there. You look down the rest of the body, it droops down all the way. Very nice. Great job, honestly. I think it came out really nice overall. Could have been a lot worse, to be honest. But everything about this figure looks pretty cool. I have to admit, even the head, the helmet, we finally get a good look at it. Take it off right there, get into focus, there you go. So it's an interesting looking helmet. You can see it goes back all the way, almost like a Stormtrooper helmet, but as a different design on the front. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. On the top over here, he does have a harder plastic. Not harder, but it's pretty soft actually. But it's still, it's like a plastic material compared to the rest of the body. So it gives it more of a detailed look over his shoulders, which is pretty nice. I'm fine with that. Going down, the body's all black. You just look at the details, some different details over here on his arms over here. You see the details on his belt, a little thing there. I'm guessing that's just a buckle. Nothing, no technology there. I wonder actually. You never know. But going underneath, more of the same texture over here, like on the arms. But it's also like a hard plastic. Not really hard, but like I said, it does. It's not fabric, and underneath there you do see the rest of his body. I actually do wonder what kind of body he has underneath this, like what mold they use. But other than that, yeah, so we finally get a good look at Kylo Ren right here. Looks pretty nice. And we also get a good look at his new lightsaber right here. Very unique looking, pretty cool. It is the triple lightsaber right there. It actually comes out pretty easily compared to the other ones from the series as well. You just pull it out like that. As you can see, it has pegs. Little holes on the side as well, and on top. Surprisingly though, there is no little like peg so you could attach to a side, which I thought would be pretty cool, because a lot of the other Jedis had that, and the other figures that come with lightsabers, they always have a peg that you could attach onto the side, but he does not have one, so a little bit disappointing because he always has to hold it then, that means. Or you could just stuff it in his hood like that. Whatever. But putting it back on is pretty easy as well. It's not that hard as I thought it would be. You see all the peg holes as well. So you just stick it back on like so. Yeah. There you go. It's pretty flush, stays in there nicely, and you got a cool looking lightsaber right there. It fits in both hands pretty easily. Doesn't I wish it was a little bit better of a grip, but it's not going to fall off though, so it's not a big deal. You can still have him posing with it, bending his arm, doing whatever, and it won't fall out though, so don't worry about that. Alright, getting to articulation. Actually, it is pretty good considering he has all these robes on, all these different layers on. His legs, his lower body move pretty well because a lot of slits, a lot of cuts in between the clothing, and it's pretty soft plastic rubber right here, and obviously this is easy to move. So surprisingly, the lower body is very good, very similar to almost like Darth Maul, so it's pretty nice there. Getting to articulation, starting at the head, he does have a ball joint on a swivel, but it's not the best. I think because of this robe, or maybe this part right here, you can't move it up, you can't move it down, barely. It could also be the construction of the helmet, who knows. But yeah, the limiting on the head is kind of a downer. I do wish it was a little bit better, but it does go left and right, no problem there. Going to the shoulders, hinge shoulders that rotate up and down, no problems there. He doesn't have a bicep swivel, but at his elbow it does rotate and bend up 90 degrees. So that's pretty standard. Wrist swivel, and I believe there's a little bit of a hinge. I could be wrong. Wait, there is a hinge, but it goes up and down like that. Doesn't go in like that. So, he does have a ab joint. You could kind of feel it. It's pretty good right there, and it does rotate left and right. Surprisingly, when you rotate it left and right, the clothing stays on pretty well as well. So that's pretty good. It doesn't shift too much. Goes back the way it should. So that's some good stuff right there. Going down to the hips, pretty standard T-jointed hips, which I like. Nice articulation on those. So you can see basically goes up all the way, goes back, goes that far out, which is good. Thigh swivel in there as well. 2 joints at the knee. No boot swivel, but at the foot it does go left and right swivel and a pivot. Yeah. And it pivots at the ankle, that is. So yeah, you have that. So very good articulation, except for the head. I do wish it was a little bit better. Surprisingly, on most Hasbro figures, you could just pop it off the head. But this one, it's pretty hard to pop off. I tried it. I had so much resistance to it. I didn't want to try it anymore. I might try it later by boiling it off. But I'm surprised you can't even take it off. So that's pretty interesting. Size comparison, here is Kylo Ren and some of the other 6-inch figures I find are my favorite. He stands pretty well with Anakin right there on the side, a little bit taller than Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi right there. So it's pretty nice. I do have a Darth Vader figure, but he's still in the box unopened, and I'm going to keep him that way for a while. So yeah. And here's Kylo Ren next to Dr. Doom. For some odd reason, I had this weird connection between these guys. I don't know why. I think maybe it's because the hood, maybe. Also the fact that a lot of the latest incarnations of Dr. Doom in movies look very similar to this. I don't know. Like I said, it could be the hood, the long draping clothes, I don't know, and he's a little slimmer, so yeah. But here's a nice comparison next to a 6-inch figure from Marvel Legends. And for a last size comparison, here is Kylo Ren and some of the other 6-inch figures from different lines. As you can see, he's a teeny bit smaller, but that's fine because, you know, all these guys are superheroes. They're huge, they're big, and he's probably just a normal sized human being, so I don't mind the size there. So for this figure, you know, I'm really impressed by it. I like it a lot. I am very impressed by the cloak, the cloth parts of this figure. You know, Hasbro and I guess the Star Wars department, they do a great job when it comes to these. You know, all these figures, even the old ones, they all have some bit of fabric on them somewhere that really blends in nicely with the plastic, so they do a great job there. Other than that, I'm very interested to see this character in the movie, how he fits in and plays in there. So that's about it, guys. So thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and go to wildlandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, get a thumbs up. Peace!